Hey, my name is Keenan, and I'm the CEO here at 2X Profit. I have been running and building and profiting from service-based businesses for 14 years now. I'm very passionate about service-based businesses, and I love helping entrepreneurs and business owners in the service sector. So anyone that sells their time for money or their team's time or whatever, I love helping those people. They're my people. So you presumably are watching this right now because you just completed your profit leak detector assessment and you found out that you have a fulfillment bottleneck or profit leak. Well, I want to help you fix that. One cool thing about me is I am very, very good at ops. A lot of business owners, they struggle with ops. That's kind of my superpower, getting shit done and getting it done fast. That's what I do best. Not only that, I'm really good at building systems out. Now, I should mention there's another video on this page that talks about systems bottlenecks or operational bottlenecks. You want to watch that one as well because fulfillment and operations, they go hand in hand. So make sure to watch that. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over. It's very good, I promise. You will not regret watching it. But a fulfillment bottleneck at the highest level just means you have more demand than what you have supply. So more people want what you have to sell than what you can supply. And now you're in an interesting situation because your team can't possibly work anymore, or you can and it's just miserable, or no one wants to do it, or it will be difficult or whatever, right? So I want to help you figure out a good way to strategically fix your problem. Now, this problem can pop up in a lot of interesting ways. In business, all things are correlated. As a matter of fact, if you've heard the expression that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, a chain is just a bunch of links connected together. When you pull, one of them is the weakest, it pops, and then the chain breaks. Well, your business is nothing more than a system of business links interlocked together to make a business chain, right? So this is your business chain here. So let's see, you have marketing, sales, do onboarding, fulfillment, back office stuff, right? Okay. So there's one place that if you start tugging on your business, you start injecting more customers in, that it will break first. Your job as an entrepreneur is to find where that place is and put all of your resources into fixing that one place. Because once you fix the weakest link, the whole chain gets stronger, the whole business generates more revenue, profit, it becomes healthier, all those great things. But then there's a new weakest link. So maybe the weakest link was here and then it pops up over here and it bounces around. There's always a weakest link. You got to go find out what it is and fix it. Now, one interesting thing that I like to talk to business owners about as well, a lot of times people are under the belief that getting more profit means they have to work more. And they're like, dude, I'm already working all the hours of the day, which is indicative of why you'd have a fulfillment problem. I can't work any harder. My team's already working harder. There's no more gas left in the chamber at the end of the day, no more gas in the tank. We're burned out. But making more profit does not mean that you're working more. Matter of fact, some of the entrepreneurs that work the hardest make the least amount of profit, but that's because they're working on the wrong things. Now, when it comes to fixing fulfillment bottlenecks or profit leaks, you want to put all your focus on the one thing that's broke. There's always going to be a thing. So let me give you an example. Actually, ironically enough, is this client right here. So this is what's called a 2X Profit audit. It's a deep dive it's a free audit that our team does where we deep dive into a service-based business and we figure out the different bottlenecks or breaking points in their business chain. And then what we do is we report the findings back to the business owner and we tell them, hey, these are after going through your website and your social media and your ad campaigns and looking at your pricing and comparing you against your competitors, maybe we even secret shop them or whatever, this is what we found and this over here is how we fix it. Here's like an implementation page teaching them how to fix it themselves if they want. I'll tell you about that more in a second. But anyways, it was for this business. So this business, they had an interesting problem. They said they're making, I think it was like 2 million per year, something like that. I think it's actually 2.4, but we'll say 2 million. And they were profiting 600,000 as the owners. Yay, hey, good job. We like that. That's good money, good margins. Cool, nice for them. But here's the interesting thing. Their business was capped out. They're like, dude, we can't take on any more customers. And their solution was to invest $2 million. So we'll do this, minus 2 million into a new facility and then hire more providers so they could take on more clients, right? They owned a medical clinic. And so that's what they wanted to do. And we said, hey, this could work, but it's going to be a lot of effort to find and build a building, retrofit it. It's going to take you probably 6 months, maybe a year. I don't know. You got to find these new providers. Meanwhile, you're going to be working a lot harder than you want. These guys try and work like 10 hours a week in their business. They don't like working a lot. They travel a lot. It's going to take a lot more work than you think. It's going to take longer than you think. Let's talk about some ways that we can fix your fulfillment bottlenecks faster. And they're like, cool, sounds great. What do you think? So I said, well, first thing I think, raise your damn prices. And they're like, well, if we raise our prices, our customers will leave. I'm like, one, you don't know that. That's an assumption. An assumption is something you think is true, but you actually don't know if it's true. That's an assumption. You don't know if they will leave. Two, good. Your team's working too hard anyways. You probably should lose your least profitable customers. You want to scare the headache customers out of your business. You don't want them. So raise your prices. But here's the magic behind doing this, okay? You don't have to hire anybody else, and you can make significantly more money. Matter of fact, our recommendation for these guys was to scrap this whole process, not hire more providers, increase their price by 50%, and then change their billing cycle and how they're structuring their billing. And that would give them an additional $700,000 per year of profit with no extra work. Like, insane. They double their take-home pay to 1.3 million, more than double, to 1.3 million, and all they do are adjust some numbers in a software. I like that. It's a lot easier than building out a building and hiring all these doctors that may or may not be a good fit, may or may leave or whatever, right? So let me break down the math real quick, right? So their average client was paying like, I'm trying to remember the math. It was a mess. So they had some that were paying like $900, and their retail that they were selling new clients on was like 24, or no, it wasn't 2,400. It's 2,000, that's what it was, 2,000. So this was their current price. They had some people that they never raised the prices on since they started working with them. They were paying 900. That's insane. They made like almost no profit on these guys, but they're like, but they're our best customers because they referred people. It's like, yeah, no shit. They're not paying you any money. Like you're losing money to work with these guys. And in the medical space, $900 a year, these are yearly prices, by the way, $900 a year is not a lot of money to work with a dedicated medical team. And so they did move their price up to $2,000 for their newer customers, but I said, okay, you're under market, your competitors are charging around $3,500, you could probably just charge $3,500, but let's just say we only bump up $1,000, okay? So plus 1K. What's this going to do to the business? Well, their cost of taking care of this customer, they had a 25% profit margin. So that means that they spent $1,500 to take care of this customer, leaving them with $500 left over, right? Hence their profit margin. Well, here's the wild thing. If you add $1,000 to this price and do nothing different, you get $1,500 profit per customer because the fulfillment costs the same. So you are now 3xing, in this case, the profit per customer. Wild. And because you have healthier margins, you can now afford to pay your team more, so you can get better people. Your doctors will stay longer. You don't have to worry about your competitors poaching them because they can't afford to steal your talent from you. Really, really good recipe. Now, here's the other thing. So ideally, increasing the price would cause the worst customers to leave. It will free up capacity to bring in more of the right customers at this higher offer. Meanwhile, these guys they're losing money on, or at the very best breaking even, but they're also neglecting these guys because they can't afford to put a lot of time or energy. So it's like these guys would rather have the result of a healthier, better body than the result of the $900 or whatever. So I told them, like, stop making the decision for these guys. Tell them, hey, we're going to raise the rates up to here, but here's what you get from that as a result, right? But at the very least, if they did nothing else, just raise the price because these guys, you shouldn't be paying like 50% of your retail price or whatever it is. Okay, now here's the other problem that this business had that we recommended them fixing. So first one, raise your price, change your billing cycle. The next one, when they had a new client walking off the street, right? Kind of sad client because they're not feeling very good. That's why they're going to a medical practice. So they talked to the doctor, and the doctor, they're a very happy doctor. So there you go. So there's the doctor, very nice little clipboard. So we know it's a doctor. Okay, there you go. Chicken scratch, the whole thing. Okay, so what would happen is they'd get a lead off the street, and the lead would talk to a doctor, and then if the lead wanted to, they could pay the business a $600 onboarding. They came with blood work, a DEXA scan, and then 2 hours of provider time. Okay, an hour for the consult, and then an hour to interpret the blood work and DEXA scan for $600. And not everyone paid the price. Some people just did the 1 hour for the sales consult or whatever, and then they bounced, and they never came back. And the problem is these doctors are incredibly expensive, and they were the bottleneck, the fulfillment bottleneck for the entire business. And so the problem was, is that they couldn't take on any more customers because they didn't have enough doctors, because their doctors were spending time with time wasters. Not every one of these people that came in even closed. They had a pretty good close rate, which once again, if your close rate's like 80%, by the way, raise your damn prices. You should be like hovering around like a 40 to 50% close rate. If your close rates are higher than that, you have some pricing power you're leaving on the table. Raise your prices. So anyways, what we recommended them doing is we say, okay, we got to restructure your lead acquisition and onboarding process. So you don't have a 1 doctor to 1 patient ratio. Instead, what you should do, you should have 1 doctor to 20 patients, and you do it in like a seminar format. So they had a nice, conference room in the office. And what you do is you charge the patients to come in, and you charge them $99, and you give them a DEXA scan, because they had a DEXA machine sitting in the office collecting dust if it wasn't being used. So like, hey, it costs nothing to run that damn machine other than the person you're paying to run it. For $99, they get a DEXA scan plus 1 hour seminar about whatever health topic, was relevant to them. And they need to test it out and see which seminar topic's the best or whatever, right? You got to A/B test this. You're never going to know the right answer out the gate. But I said this way, what happens is that at a minimum, for 1 hour of provider time, you get two grand instead of 600. What's better, 2 grand or 600? And this is assuming a 100% close rate. And it's not even 1 hour because it's actually 2 hours. So this would be like, three hours and then, $300 per hour for provider time, but you also have to pay the cost of the blood work and the DEXA. So this isn't really good unit economics, but you get 2K here. Now, a certain percentage of these people will want to take you up on the full package. This offer right here, right? So where is it? I don't know. This one, the 3K offer, right? A certain amount of these will want to take you up on it. And my friend said, well, what if our close rates fall? I'm like, great, they will. But you don't have enough space to take everyone on anyways. You have a wait list of like 3 months to work with you. You need to raise your damn prices. You don't need to take on everybody, and you can't. And your team hates you for trying it. So what we want to do, let's just say under this approach, let's see, I'll change colors here. Let's say this approach, let's say we have an 80% close rate with the doctor. Now let's say down under this method, only 6 out of the 20, okay? So that's 14 no's after their DEXA scan. So let's say you only get a 30% close rate here. Well, what's the math? So with here, your average session is worth $520 once factoring in the 80% close rate. Here, you're already making the 2K per session because people pay $99 to show up. So you're already coming out well ahead of this. Now, of course, these guys are ideally buying the $3,000 thing too. But if only 6 people upgrade, you get the $2,000 plus 6 times 3,000. So it's at $18,000 for 1 hour of provider time in the seminar. Granted, the provider still has to like service the client or the patient. So it's not quite as simple as saying just 1 hour provider time. But the unit economics are so much more favorable. Even if their close rate was significantly worse, they would still make more money and they would solve this constraint, this bottleneck. Now, your business, probably not going to be the same situation, but you will have one component of fulfillment that is breaking your business. The first thing I invite you to do is to explore if raising your prices will fix the issue. Sometimes you have a problem where you can't hire more people because you're underpriced, and raising your prices will allow you to hire and train more and better people. That fixes the whole issue right there. Sometimes the problem is you need new equipment. You need better equipment, and maybe you can't make that investment of equipment because you can't bring in the sales volume because you don't have enough people, and so you're kind of locked in this situation. Raising your price a lot of times will fix that, by the way, but there's other ways you can restructure your offering. You can pull cash forward. You can sell a year in advance. You can sell a quarter in advance. You can sell a more expensive thing. So if you offer offer A and you charge $100 a month, we'll create offer B that you charge $1,000 per month for, and just make it way better than offer A, but it still has to make economic sense for you. It shouldn't cost 10 times as much to fulfill. But what's something that you could charge 10 times the price because it's 10 times more valuable, but maybe it only costs twice as much to fulfill or 3 times as much to fulfill, right? That's the goal of fixing these bottlenecks. Your fulfillment issue is only an issue because you don't have the cash to get out of it. But once you figure out how to free up your cash flow, then you can hire more people, buy better equipment, buy better things, whatever it is that you need to do to get out of your problem. You can work your way out of that as long as you have the cash to do so. So hopefully this is helpful. Now, once again, I really want to encourage you to go check out the systems and operations bottleneck video on this page as well, because it talks about how to create the actual systems and work yourself out of the position. So let's say, for example, that you have a team of 5 and there's one person that is overworked. Everyone else is doing okay, but this one person's overworked, and you need to figure out how to duplicate that person's efforts without sacrificing quality. Well, that video will teach you how to do it. I break it down really clear, really well. So I want to invite you to do that. Now, the other thing I wanted to invite you to do, I have this 2x profit audit here. I told you about it was actually for this business where we analyze this, and we did all this for free, by the way. All this work was for free. It's really cool. Now, when we do this, our team goes in and we really dive deep into the business because we're trying to figure out how can we realistically 2x their profit in 12 months or less. And we're more often than not very successful at coming up with that plan. And then we give you as the business owner this plan. You can then choose to take the plan and execute it without our help, or if you want, you can work with our team directly. That's how we make money at 2x Profit. We give you the secrets away, and then we say, hey, if you want our help implementing to make it happen faster, let us know and we'll do that. And when you stand to go from 600,000 a year in profit to 1.3 million a year, it definitely makes sense to at least entertain the conversation. So anyways, we do this 2x Profit audit knowing that a lot of people that we do this for will end up wanting to work with us. The ones that don't will take it and go and do it themselves and at least like us and generally refer us several friends. And then the last thing that's kind of in it for us is we do make content just like this from doing these 2x Profit audits, which helps us get out in front of other business owners, help provide more value to the marketplace, help entrepreneurs for free, and then find the people that really want to work with our team and give them the opportunity to do so. So if that's something you want, scroll down below, click on the apply for your 2x Profit audits. Now, we only do 5 of these audits per week because they take so much time for my team. So if this is something you want, I highly recommend applying now before slots are full. And then we'll let you know within the next 24 hours if we think we can 2x your profit in 12 months or less. If we can, we'll reach out and talk about having an audit with you. And if not, we'll let you know that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful for your business. Once again, if you want my and my team's help applying this, go apply for your 2x Profit audit now.